Recently I have seen a video of my favorite gaming channel on YouTube. It turns out some people don't know what Counter-Strike is. These are hopeless cases. For all who know and are interested in how Counter-Strike became what it is today, I made this little documentary. Counter-Strike began as a mod for Half-Life 1. It's a science fiction first-person shooter developed by Valve which ran on the Gold Source engine, a heavily modified version of the Quake World engine. It was released in 1998, and due to the fact that it came with modding tools, less than 1 year later several mods were born. Until today, the most important one is Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is an online multiplayer game where two teams fight against each other, the terrorists and the counter-terrorists. But anyone who doesn't know how the gameplay works won't be interested in this video anyways. So let's just go on. The first beta was released in June 1999. This version of CS featured 9 weapons and 4 maps, of which the most of you most likely have never heard of. Siege, Mansion, Weapon Depot and Prison. Well, maybe you have heard of Siege. In the role of the terrorists we found the IRA, and as counter-terrorists a SEAL team. Only 8 days later, Beta 1.1 was released. General gameplay improvements were made, server stability was improved, sounds re-recorded, and the biggest change, 2 maps were updated and 2 new ones were added. Desert and one of my favorites till this day, Assault. The betas continued and several experiments were made. They experimented with vehicles and mounted machine guns known from Half-Life. One of the more unique things that could be found in the betas was the map DE Railroad. It featured a functioning train and was the largest official map created to that day. Another unique thing was the commander in the beta 4.0. It was a randomly chosen person in the team who got special radio commands. The commander of the counter-terrorist team spawned with a compact pistol instead of the USP. The whole commander idea was removed in the beta 5.0. The betas continued till September 2000 with beta version 7.1. This was the last and final beta version. In November 2000, Counter-Strike left the beta stages and was published by Valve. This was version 1.0. Servers are no longer available, but ModDB offers a download so you can play it with friends via local network. Improvements continued until version 1.5. This was the last version that was available for retail and mods as well. By the way, this is the version where I started playing Counter-Strike. And the most memorable thing for me is the fact that sniper rifles actually had a crosshair. Yeah, they really had. Starting with Counter-Strike 1.6, updates were only available through Steam, and 2 new weapons have been added to the game. The IDF Defender and the Charlion. Also the Riot Shield came for the CTs. Since then, no major gameplay changes were made, mostly bug fixes and performance updates. In 2003, Counter-Strike was released for the Xbox. It was the first console port of Counter-Strike and the first version that came along with bots. There's not much to say about the Xbox version of Counter-Strike, because Turtle Rock Studios mostly built it out of parts from 2004 released Counter-Strike Condition Zero. As previously mentioned, Counter-Strike Condition Zero was released in 2004. Unlike other Counter-Strike games, Condition Zero also contains a single-player mission pack, called Tour of Duty. But these were just multiplayer maps, with bots on them. And as you can imagine, these missions are pretty boring. But along with Condition Zero, another single-player mission pack called Deleted Scenes came along. These were real single-player missions with a story. For example, in one mission they ripped off the story from Black Hawk Down, or in another example, they created a fictional war in Russia between Spetsnaz units and terrorists. By the way, this Spetsnaz mission is quite unique, because it's the only time in the game where you will start with a AK-47 as a counter-terrorist. These missions are all kinda fun to play, but can't hold up to today's standards.
Still better than Call of Duty.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right. If you look at the timeline, something feels strange. 2 single-player modes and the game is being released only a few months before Counter-Strike Source, which has way better graphics. Yeah, it's fair to say, Condition Zero didn't go as planned. Condition Zero started development in 2000 by Rogue Entertainment. Rogue's producer for the game later that year moved to Sony and the development company went defunct, leaving Valve with the development. So they shifted the gear and gave it to Gearbox. Yeah, I know, that one was dry. Gearbox created an overhaul of Counter-Strike with high quality models and better graphics. and new stuff like Molotov cocktails and rocket launchers were added. But after a few development delays, it missed the late 2002 deadline, and Valve decided to give it to Ritual Entertainment, who completely remade the game into a single player. They enhanced the AI of Half-Life to create an initial bot AI. It was expected to be released in early 2003, with a secondary multiplayer mode, and it was developed alongside the Xbox version of Counter-Strike. But they also failed. Valve saw an average review score of around 60%, and that's not good compared to the other games they've released. Ritual's share of development was dropped, and development was given to the relatively new company Turtle Rock Studios, who easily restarted where Gearbox left off. They developed an updated bot AI that was beta tested in Counter-Strike 1.6 before release. So after all that, Counter-Strike Condition Zero is the work of Gearbox and Turtle Rock Studios, and the deleted scenes are the remains of Ritual Entertainment's failed attempt. In 2004, just a few months after Counter-Strike Condition Zero, Source was released, first available in a beta phase for owners of Condition Zero and Half-Life 2. CSS is a complete remake of the original Counter-Strike on the Source engine, created by Turtle Rock Studios. The usage of the Source engine increased the looks immensely, compared to previous versions of the game. Because CSS and CS Condition Zero were developed at the same time, many things were used in both games. To give an example, the bot AI is the same. But several things were changed. For example, the tactical shield was removed and silent walking, or Russian walking, doesn't work anymore. Also, the firing behavior of several weapons have changed drastically. Since the release, several updates have been made, and the most mentionable, since March 2010, Source is also available for Mac OS. Yeah! Though Counter-Strike Source was a big step forward compared to 1.6, a lot of the old gamers didn't like it. And so, the community of 1.6 stayed really large, until the release of Counter-Strike Global Offense. In the August of 2012, Counter-Strike Global Offense was released. It is available for PC, Mac, Xbox 360, PS3 and even Linux. It started off as an Xbox 360 port of Counter-Strike Source by Hidden Path Entertainment. Seeing this as an opportunity to expand the franchise, Valve turned it into a completely new game. Counter-Strike Global Offense uses the latest version of the Source engine, like Portal 2 for example. And it's not built of Counter-Strike Source, it's a complete recreation. After the success of the previous games, Valve wanted the new game of the franchise to cater both to casuals and the competitive community as well. This was achieved by including a matchmaking system and the support of dedicated servers as well. After testing, major problems were fixed and the closed beta started in November 2011 to a pool of around 10,000 selected players. After almost a year of closed beta, Valve opened the beta up, starting August 14, 2012 to anyone who had pre-ordered the game. Valve is known for providing unparalleled support and continuous updates for its titles, and Counter-Strike Global Offense is no exception. Since the beta ended, Hidden Path Entertainment stopped its share of development and Valve has taken over and provided countless updates from bug fixes and gameplay adjustments to new official content, and even added the support for Steam Workshop to allow custom content. As of yet, the console versions have not been updated and are extremely different when compared to their Steam counterpart. It's currently unknown whether or not Valve has plans for updating them as well. Also, cross-platform capability is not available, though it was originally planned. Compared to the more classic Counter-Strike Source, several weapons were changed. For example, the MP5 was part of the game since the release back in 2000, and in CSGO it was replaced by the MP7. Also, the M4A1 was removed and later reintroduced due to protest of the community. It was added to the game in the 2013 Arms Deal update. It replaces the M4A4 if equipped in the loadout. Generally speaking, Counter-Strike Go has more weapons than the older Counter-Strike games. Speaking of more weapons, has anyone heard of the Counter-Strike offsprings for the Asian market? No? I thought since Counter-Strike Nexon Zombies you probably have. In 2008, the Korean company Nexon Corporation released their first Counter-Strike spin-off, Counter-Strike Online. It's targeted towards an Asian market and uses the old Gold Source engine, aka Half-Life 1 engine. Also, it is the first Counter-Strike that uses micropayments. It introduced some major changes to the original Counter-Strike. It has 25 official game modes. Besides the classic modes, also a zombie mode, a deathmatch mode, a football mode or soccer mode, however you want to call it, and an Attack on Titan mode. Just to name a few. And yeah, really, Attack on Titan, you fight a giant. Well, look it up on YouTube. It looks really, really weird. The game also features a variety of additions, such as female characters, numerous new weapons and skins for old weapons. Most of this stuff is locked by default, so game points or real-world money is needed to purchase them. Yes, and even this shit is available, even though it looks completely weird.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, thanks Captain, I thought the same. Currently CS Online 2 is in development. It's basically the same thing, but it uses a Source engine instead of the old Half-Life engine. It's planned to be released in 2015, to be precisely on July 24th. At least that's the plan. What all Steam users recently saw was Counter-Strike Nexon Zombies. It's pretty similar to CS Online. Same menu, same sounds, same weapons, similar models. The difference is the focus is on zombies only this time. Or mostly. I'm just gonna read the Steam description for you. Counter-Strike Nexon Zombies is a free-to-play MMO-FPS offering competitive player vs player and player vs environment action, including content from the original Counter-Strike, and all new game modes, maps, weapons and hordes of zombies. Well, nothing more to say about it. You have a gun with a Jesus figure on it. Both games are for free, so you can test it yourself. I will put a download link in the description, but currently they seem to be offline. So you can just use Counter-Strike Nexon Zombies instead. It is the same anyway, and available via Steam, so you have no risk downloading it from any kooky website. And if you tested one of these games, please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks they are weird. Well, weird indeed, but to be fair, while playing the game I had my fair share of fun. Because zombie multiplayer games are mostly fun, especially if you have so many weird weapons. And the coolest reloading animation for an STG-44 ever. Seriously, this is just boss-like.
Like a boss.
Min Lee and Jess Cliffy started Counter-Strike, and it's one of the greatest game series ever created. And I'm eager to see what the future will bring. Maybe we will get a new version alongside Half-Life 3. Fat chance. But we can at least hope for it. So, till then, lock and load and see you on the battlefield.